Tim Kaine, what do you think people in Virginia think about the fact that 200,000 people and workers in your state could lose their jobs, that a lot of pain is going to be experienced by a middle class that has been squeezed over the past decade, and yet you have politicians on both sides that aren't even getting together trying to save their jobs?
Joe, three quick stories. I went on a 10-day armed services tour around the state, went to an Army hospital, Fort Belvoir, that treats wounded warriors, and the wife of a guy getting treated there said, hey, these DOD civilians who are getting furloughed include the nurses who take care of my husband. You know, what can we do about this? I was in Hampton Roads talking to ship repairers. One small company was issuing warn notices to 300 of their 450 employees. And here's a scary one. I talked to ROTC students at UVA who want to make military careers, and one of them said to me essentially this: I'm willing to face the risk of hostilities that would put me in harm's way, but in making a career choice, do I really want to face the risk of uncertainty about whether my political leadership will provide support to the American military? This is what I'm hearing as I travel around Virginia. It's going to have a major effect on our economy. 90,000 furloughs of DOD civilians alone, and potentially 200,000 job losses.
Wow.
So that's why we got to find a solution.
Robert Gibbs.
Governor, I call you governor. I'm sorry, Senator. You got promoted. You were my governor, and you were terrific, and you'll always be my governor. I don't know if that's a promotion
or not.
Well,
I'll
ask you that in a year, right?
Anyway.
Yeah. What are these? When you talk to these guys that are outraged, flummoxed at what's going on, I've always thought the American people had great common sense solutions for these things too. What do they say is the best way to do this?
Here, they say three things. So I took a little bit of time off Saturday, went to a bluegrass concert, sat next to a guy who was about 80, was wearing a veteran's cap. He leaned over to me and he said, look, you're here for the music. I'm not going to bug you, but just go up and find compromise. So find compromise. Most people get that it's got to be a balanced approach, that if we're going to deal with these fiscal issues, whether sequester short-term or budgetary long-term, it's got to be a balance of cuts and revenues, and they accept that. And the last thing, this was interesting, as I was doing this armed services tour, not a single person at a shipyard or at a naval base said to me, look, lift up on our cuts by doubling cuts to somebody else. Nobody is saying make us, at least out in the public, you know, save my bacon by frying somebody else's bacon. There is a notion that we're going to have to make cuts, but we ought to find revenues. And as you guys know, you probably watched, in my hometown on Saturday, my Republican governor and my Republican legislature did a transportation package that was about $2 of new revenue for every $1 of expense cuts. They told Grover Norquist to take a hike. If you don't want transportation, take a hike. And they did the right thing in a balanced way. That was Saturday, 90 miles from here. We ought to learn from that.